What is far deadlier than most people realize? Serious? A splinter can be lethal. Infection sepsis can turn nasty very quick if some basic first aid isn't administered ASAP. The amount of material you allow unsupported sticking out of a lathe. I watched an apprentice leave about 18 inches of a steel rod sticking out while running the lathe at 700 RPM. The rod eventually bent from the speed and started smacking everything in place. Luckily for him, the bend wasn't enough to hit him. Not sleeping adequately and with the right schedule. Stress. Communism. Mixing chemicals. When I was 16, a very, very long time ago, before cell phones, I was supposed to meet this girl when she got off her after-school job on a Friday night. Would have been our first date. She worked at a Wendy's or something. She never showed up and I didn't hear from her for several days. Again, no phones, so she couldn't just text. Turns out she was cleaning the bathrooms and mixed a bunch of cleaning supplies and ended up in the ICU for several days. Almost died. It's that easy. No one really teaches you this stuff. Been there, done that. Don't recommend. Asthma. Staying with a partner who has put their hands on your neck to strangle you during a fight. Your chances of being killed by your partner increase exponentially. Penile fracture. If this happens to you, do not hesitate to get medical help. 12 weeks ago this happened to me. The tissue that fills with blood and makes the penis erect can fracture when impacted awkwardly. Bend at 45 degrees and a huge hematoma and swelling. I went the ed and after the poor student doctor saw it, I was rushed into hospital. I was informed if it wasn't surgically fixed it could mean necrosis and removal. The surgical procedure involved degloving the penis, removing the hematoma, stitching up the fractured tissue under the skin and then stitching the skin back on. Still having nerve pain, not mention the effect it's had on our sex life. Sadly, gender reveal parties. The flu. I remember people saying COVID was just like the flu and I'm here like that's still not good. Cars, PPA get scared of plane crashes BC they are announced on news channels and get much attention, while forgetting that car crashed happen about 2 million times per year and PPA still talk and chat on their phones while driving, such a stupid habit. Carbon monoxide. I think most people know about the general danger of it, but I know in some climates that aren't as used to the cold, it's not necessarily common knowledge that you shouldn't leave your car running in a closed garage. Loneliness. Banana skins on the floor. This is the first thing in this thread that actually surprised me, because it's so obvious and yet I've never considered it. Of course, standing under waterfalls is dangerous. Making a mental note to never do it ever again. A walrus with an AK-47. Hawaii. Accidentally swallowing salt water, secondary drowning. Surprisingly or not, gasoline. It's a very volatile liquid that can catch fire with ease. In large amounts it can cause a massive explosion and is dangerous to you and the environment. The fumes can also displace breathable air rather quickly as well. Some people really don't know how crazy that stuff is and how many safety precautions going into a fuel pumping systems to prevent it from blowing up. Stagnant water in AC units. Some contain brain-eating amoeba. They get in through your nose and begin slowly killing you by living up to their name. No cure. No treatment. Just slow death. Hippos. They kill for pleasure. Kangaroos, they have claws long enough and hard enough to gut you with a kick, and the force they put out when they kick can cave in a car door panel. Imagine what that would do to your squishy body. Also, koala bites. Koala bites have a really high chance of getting infected. This is also leaving aside the rampant chlamydia in koalas. Moving/running water. You could be Michael Phelps, but if you fall into the water near a dam that has fast-moving water, or get caught in a flash flood, even if water isn't even up to your waist, you are as good as dead. Visine. People seem to have this idea that a few drops of Visine in someone's drink will give them diarrhea, and do it to prank each other, or get some sort of satisfaction with petty revenge. People are sitting in prison for murder for doing this. The main active ingredient is called tetrahydrozoline, which is a vasoconstrictor. Once it enters your gastrointestinal tract, it can be absorbed by your intestines and end up in your blood, causing your blood pressure and heart rate to drop to potentially life-threatening levels. It really makes me wonder how many people have died due to people copycatting that scene in Wedding Crashers. I've known several that sought out dealers pushing heroin or fent that had already killed their friends because in their minds, the person that died just did too much or just didn't have as high a tolerance and convinced themselves they could handle it because they were desperate and opiates are scarce in our area. Landscaping. Cutting down trees, weed eating, mowing the lawn, etc. Hypertension can raise hell on your organs. If you have it, take your meds. Sepsis. A simple UTI, for example, can go system-wide extremely fast. It just about did me in 2 weeks in hospital, still weak and sick, recovering at home. Sepsis kills huge numbers of people every year. Kindness matters. It took me way too many decades to realize how important it is. And, oh my god, what you get back in return for being kind. I never knew. So pretty much everything is deadly. Good to know. Note, do not pick fights with strangers, especially over petty things. More people are mentally unstable than you realize and will do something lethal in a fit of rage. Run you over with their car, grab a knife, beat you with something until you're dead. There's no need to save the day or prove you were right. It's not worth it. Just move along. Trains. You can be standing away from the tracks and they can still kill you. The train could be going fast enough to create suction and pull you under. It happened to a person walking by the tracks near Ottawa many years ago. Never attempt to climb on a train car, whether it is sitting or in motion. Sitting trains can start moving at any time, and a train in motion might take a limb with it. Trains can derail. If you're near the tracks, well, you're probably dead. Anything that isn't secured is going to be acting like a diesel-powered whip. A steel strap being pulled by a fast freight train will chop you into little pieces. Containers fall from trains. If one lands on you, they're going to need a spatula to clean you up. And, for those who walk on the tracks, train time is any time, and depending on the direction of the wind and your attention span, you won't know the train is there until it's going through your body. Tracks are for trains. Stay on the sidewalk. Cancer. Rip currents. Know the signs of being stuck in one and swim parallel to shore until you're out of it rather than try and fight it. Hippos. Extended fasting. Refeeding wrong after not eating for a while can kill you. Driving. Vending machines. Only 13 a year, but it's a vending machine. Ice cubes. If one manages to fall on the kitchen floor unnoticed, you can slip and crack your skull open. My only resolution this year was to stop drinking energy drinks. I used to drink them almost every day, but I haven't had one since last November. The sun. So many people forget to use sunscreen and end up getting burned multiple times every year. It's pretty common to get chunks cut off of your face to prevent skin cancer from spreading, just remember that. Riding basically any two-wheels vehicle with no helmet. I was a donor lab tech for a long time and we could rarely recover anything from the head of motorcycle accidents with no helmets. Reddit user, what is deadlier than most people realize? Reddit, everything. Apathy. Mental illness, depression. Construction work. I have only once done labor jobs for a stonemason and after that, a tile worker. The only common thing between them was horrific injuries. Hell, I left with a scar in my leg and all my boss said was I've seen worse. For sure not for everybody type of job. Tylenol 10 grams, 20 pills, not that many, is toxic and can cause liver damage. A dog's tongue, people have had an injury licked and died or lost limbs from it. Misinformation, see Jan 6, 2021. Driving. I've known multiple women who have died in childbirth and 2 of my classmates grew up without moms who also died on childbirth. My sister almost hemorrhages and almost died, had to go to ICU. I've worked in a hospital and have cared for women who had botched epidurals, heart issues, blood clot scares, etc. I find this horrifying, but everyone laughs at me when I express my fears. People just talk about pregnancy so casually. It most likely will permanently mess up your body but also could kill you. Why does this not freak out more people?